Since the 1980s, El Barrio's Operation Fight Back has been providing housing for low-income families in East Harlem. Gustavo Rosado, executive director, has been there from the beginning, when abandoned buildings and drugs were consuming the city.
This one particular building had a drug dealer in it, and this drug dealer had occupied a commercial space and had leased it from the city of New York, and they were paying their rent.
The commercial space was called In the Sauce Sandwich Shop, but it was only a front for selling drugs. The building's tenants took the drug dealer to housing court and lost.
When we lost in court, we came back to the building and to conduct candlelight vigils in front of the building, and that movement was called Operation Fight Back, and that's how we got our name.
The drug dealer was forced out, and the tenants were able to buy the building from the city through the Tenant Interim Lease Program. It allowed them to lease their apartments and eventually buy them for $250 each.
As we organized more and more buildings, we realized that we needed to develop the capacity to manage buildings. Many of the buildings had tenants that didn't have enough capacity to manage, keep financial records, submit reports to the city of New York, and we filled that role for them and gradually started managing property.
By 2005, the organization was managing 36 buildings with over 400 low-income apartments they had renovated.
Come on, let's go.
Daniel Dobson lives in one of those buildings with his wife and son.
It's a pretty spacious apartment. It's very elegant, very nice. To me, Operation Fight Back is superior than the rest. You know, you can't compare it because other places charging $1,300, $1,400 for slumlord type apartments.
Slum apartments or not, high rents are now the norm in New York City. In East Harlem, there's been a wave of new construction by outside real estate investors interested in market rate housing.
It really does bring to light some of the urgency that we have in trying to maintain the existing affordable housing market, because as more private investors come in and develop market rate housing, it encourages others to come to the neighborhood, and then it puts more pressure on the low-income community. So that's how we could gradually get squeezed out.
So this is what normally happens. I'm so sorry.
Ebony Middlebrooks was almost squeezed out, along with her 3 children. She'd spent 2 years looking for an apartment when she got a call from an Operation Fight Back manager.
She asked me to come and see it, and I was blown away. I walked in, and I remember thinking to myself, okay, it's gonna be like this one little room, because that's what I've seen in the past. You come in, and there's one little room, and then you walk in, and there's 2 rooms where only a bed can fit. And that's not what I got.
What she got was a 3-bedroom apartment with a foyer, dining area, and living room for $850 a month.
When she told me that the rent goes based on your salary, I think I almost had a heart attack.
Operation Fight Back not only rents apartments to families like the Dobsons and the Middlebrooks, they're also creating opportunities for modest income families in East Harlem to own their homes.
We think that there are households that have 2-income families that could purchase a home or an apartment, and we feel that's important to stabilizing our neighborhoods.
To stabilize the community, they've also partnered with ArtSpace, a national organization that builds low-income housing for artists. Together, they plan to convert an old school building into 90 affordable apartments for local artists and their families.
We met them back in 2005 and spent the next 6 to 7 years partnering with them to get the funding and the financing to rehabilitate PS 109.
Today, Gus Rosado is as committed to Operation Fight Back's mission as he was on that first vigil 30 years ago. For him, housing is not about investing in real estate, it's about investing in families and neighborhoods. Judith Escalona, Independent Sources.